Charlie Kirk political. GG's, Dundadas, hyenas, scuba out to learn from Scuba Steve was criminal, y'all. I rock Luther, King X, don't forget the Kennedy doing his millimeter march right here on YouTube. We conducting ourselves the most highest. The dollar likes what you make it. You can't love it, you can't hate it. It's gonna be simply what you make it. GG's, you heard the dollar? God chose you because he knew he could trust you. You God's best kept secret. The dollar, you heard? When the elevator, whose elevator? God's elevator, the dollar, above life, the long life. So make sure you stand in our business, GT. You heard the dollar? That's a fact, the dollar. So right now, the dollar, we got Charlie Kirk, the dollar. It seems like his support is getting even more drastically bigger, the dollar. That it's getting more drastically bigger that he passed away, the dollar. It's getting more drastically bigger, the dollar, that now that he passed away, the dollar, it seems like his name, the dollar, is becoming more in the history books, the dollar. They try, you know what I'm saying, they trying to place him in, you know what I'm saying, they trying to place him, you know what I'm saying, in a greater, higher value, because they trying to say he didn't deserve it. If anybody deserved to pass away, they trying to say that the dude, the dollar, Charlie Kirk, did not deserve anything that was happening to him. That he was pushing against violence. He was pushing and he wasn't even going against it. He wasn't going against it. He was letting everybody have their own point of view. The dollar, he'll allow you to speak your point of view. He wasn't trying to say, oh yeah, what you were saying ain't right or ain't all the way wrong, the dollar. But he was just saying, the dollar, you know what I'm saying, go ahead, speak your mind, and then he gonna speak his, the dollar. You know what I'm saying? He's gonna speak his, Sandata. So after he passed away, the dollar, after he passed away, the dollar, his name, the dollar, got even bigger than dollar. All over the tabloids, the dollar. He was like Charlie Kirk. Everybody was who's this Charlie Kirk, do this, what he was doing, the dollar. Everybody, you know what I'm saying, they got to know who he was, the dollar. Everybody's giving feedback. A lot of people, the dollar, who's feeling sorrow, and he's still saying, yo, don't forget, please believe in his name, and please do not forget his name, the dollar, because it was believing, the dollar, it's still getting the job done, whatever job he was trying to get done, the dollar. He was trying to get done, the dollar, or we're not, the dollar, but we're going to see him. He's going to talk to us, the dollar, beyond. He's going to speak to us, the dollar, beyond the heavens. You know what I'm saying? Blessings from the heavens, the dollar, angels in the outfield, the dollar. So we got somebody who's going to speak to us, the dollar, from beyond where he's at, the dollar. And if you believe in this, and you believe in the spirit box, and you believe in this spirit box, the dollar, and this, you know what I'm saying, just let us know what Charlie Kirk got to say.
Are you able to confirm your safety for us and just help us understand where you are now on the other side? We would appreciate any and all attempts to leave us messages tonight, Charlie.
Simple things, please ascend and connect and bring out these days. Calling a view of Erika, the problem around this time. Take a middle of one in defender's face. I cross all the world line. The man is not even story from me. What an ongoing debate. And memorial. The story ends. Without hiding other leaders. The story forever all alive.
That's different.
I don't care.
That's how you know he after like this dude Dandada hit a lot of people's souls Dandada, because how the hell Dandada does he make it to the spirit box? Does he make it like he made it to a lot of people's mind Dandada? He made it to a lot of people's front of their TV Dandada. So this person, excuse my language, this person right here Dandada, he must be a good person. That's saying that he didn't deserve anything he was doing. He was going against violence and everything. Let's hear what Charlie got to say about this.
What political views you have or come from, what's going on right now is very disturbing. Today, I'm going to start up my portal device and attempt to connect with the spirit of the conservative icon, Charlie Kirk. Now, I do want to state that we do this out of complete respect for the spirits and their loved ones. And we really just wish to give closure to Charlie's loved ones, his fans, and those who've been swept away by the tragedies that unfolded that fateful day. Guys, it's also very important for me to state right now that the views and opinions expressed by the spirits on the Cody ITC channel do not reflect the opinions and beliefs of those at the channel, whether it be me or any of the ITC team members. I'll be completely honest with you, and this isn't going to come as a surprise for anybody who's at the ITC family, but we do not like politics. We stay completely out of politics because that is a game of the physical world, and we are just not a part of that. But what we are a part of is giving.
That's the first rule of politics. Stay out of politics business. If you're not a politician, these people, they're not playing, they're putting snipers on roofs. They've been doing it. Look at Martin Luther King, look at John F. Kennedy, look at Malcolm X, look at Charlie Kirk. Just imagine, the politicians, is like being in a hip-hop, that's just a whole different dynamic right there, GG. That's a whole different dynamic. But Charlie Kirk, he's still speaking, Charlie Kirk still speak, from behind. From after death, Charlie, he's still getting his message across. He's still speaking. He's already sparked the mind that was going to change the world, he's saying.
Spirits back their voice once again. So that is what we're going to try to do tonight. Remember, Cody ITC does not support or condone anything said by any of the spirits on the channel in any video. I tried filming a session earlier, but it just didn't seem too promising. I'm going to try again and see if maybe we can get some audible replies from some of the garble coming through.
Then Friday early. A unit press design. Pretty simple diagram. Designs it. Have ideas of any vital.
Charles, my name is Cody. I just heard the news about what happened to you, and my heart is absolutely broken and aching for you right now. Are you able to confirm your safety for us? And
hey, peace of love, what's good? Peace of love, what's poppin' with you, Dandada?
Greetings, man. Oh man, it's a beautiful morning, man. It's a beautiful morning. I feel great.
Beautiful morning, Dandada. I feel it, Dandada. Anything you want to say? I'm saying you want to share with us about this the Charlie Kirk situation? You think?
Yeah, since I've been looking at the things surrounded by Charlie Kirk and the people that disapprove of him, it to me, bro, like it's another sign of like racism to me, bro. Like his own people is like shitting on him really fucking bad, bro. They shitting on Charlie Kirk so bad that I don't understand it now, man. I don't understand. Now I gotta look more into it.
Why like what, like he was talking about non gang violence. He was talking about against violence at all. You know what I'm saying? He was talking about.
I see the people that's mad at him though. I see the people that's mad at Charlie Kirk though. I promise you. I see every person that said something bad about him. They confused. And I'm gonna just say it like that. They confused. Them the confused situations. What's going on in this world? And they want to, and you know, they got an impact right now thanks to Obama, bro.
I
Obama made
can't.
that shit like that, bro.
I couldn't agree with the people who were saying that it's okay to have him. You know what I'm saying? It was okay. It's like because he seemed like he was a non-violent person. He's speaking against non-violence. Y'all gonna assassinate this man. So he think he was talking against the grain. So it seems like the people who actually did this to him, maybe whoever these people are, they actually not the people standing on business. You know what I'm saying? Maybe they wanted to keep
Yeah,
going on. They wanted to keep going on the violence and the shit that be going on. You know what I'm saying? That don't make no
absolutely,
sense.
absolutely, absolutely. Everybody that's angry with Charlie Chris is the poison of the world. Just know that ain't no righteous person, is mad at motherfucking Charlie Chris. These all the people that want the bullshit to go on, bro. That's all that is, bro. They want the bullshit to go on, man.
All right,
I
so
ain't got time for all that.
let's hear what Charlie Kirk Spirit got to say behind the you know what I'm saying, after that.
And just help us understand where you are now on the other side.
Never asked for any goodness. He still here the society and the progressive central law between left and balancing. The more progress or thus humanity serve as balancing by competition, perspectives shifting, American and by decades. Great physical progress minds. Simple things leads to second connection, bring habit. Connection, optimal.
Charlie, I know this may be very hard for you to use. I can't even wrap my own mind around how a spirit would be able to use this device on the other side for themselves. But we would appreciate any and all attempts to leave us messages tonight, Charlie.
Conservative. He's not he's trust that he was for shit, so now they are going to deserve you say for me. Conservatives like change. And in the story, another forgotten from here. He was the big mystery.
Charlie, I never personally watched your content, but you seem like such a bright and vibrant energy. What can you tell us about what happened to you that day?
I could have vegetation. Then I had a thought, but negotiation changed. Maybe negotiation. Categorized shooter, shade shooter, acid.
Yo, this shit, yo, on some real shit, when you be hearing these souls speak, that shit be hitting different, bro. It's like, oh, what the, like, they be giving you the insight of what's going on, like, big negotiation, in his life, like, they actually was gonna, they said that they was gonna let him slide, they was gonna let him live, but the negotiation changed, and, you know what I'm saying, they went through it with it, that's, yo, that shit hit different right there, bro. This hits
What's
different.
this? What is this right there? What is that?
This is to the dude that speaks to spirits after death.
Hmm?
That's Cody. That's Charlie Kirk speaking through the
That's
spirit
real?
box. Mm-hmm. They did it with FBG Duck, right? And when they did it with FBG Duck, no one knew that he got shot 21 times, right? And there was like, he said, "How do you feel about your assassination? About what happened to you?" And he said, "I got slaughtered. I feel like I got slaughtered." And then that it came up that he got hit like 21 times, and you could tell when he said that, yo, that shit gives you goosebumps. You know what I'm saying? But what Charlie Kirk saying too, it gives you goosebumps. You know what I'm saying? They talk to mad
Sometimes
people. RGG, they talk to mad people. He made it to this right here.
Okay.
I don't know how strong the connection is. We usually have a very strong connection with spirits when they just cross over. But I think in this case, there may be a lot of trauma involved for Charlie personally.
He says, right. Perspectives from different and American about conservative American life. And they represent prison, different cultures, communities.
Charlie, could you describe to us your state of being on the other side? Is it peaceful? Is it safe? And have you seen a light at all on the other side?
Well, that same thing throwing out while border conservative waiting. And memorial like an ongoing debate. Voices across that wilderness. The thing that much they call it in mind and escape it. Endless. I wrote the memory. This story how King Water fell her way and saw this. And vendors just getting a food on land. They felt the way of it forever. Individual running adventures. Metaphorical body.
I really wish I could tell what Charlie was saying because I can hear he's trying to leave a lot of replies right now. But I really wanted to make sure that Charlie can go back up to the light safely, and I also don't want to interfere too much with his newly started journey on the other side. He has a lot of settling in to do, I'm sure, after all that's happened to him, and we need to make sure, out of responsibility and love, that he can get back home safely.
The problem around this time, when we build one in the vendor's case, I crossed all this world alive. The animal and story of me, blurry alive, forever.
Charlie, my spirit guide George is there with you on the other side. I don't know if you've had any interactions with him yet, but George is going to bring in the light for you all if you'd like to go back up home now. So if you see the light, don't be afraid to go back up to the light with George, Charlie.
Great progress of connection. Doorway from mysteries. That your endless with blur. The blur. How do we solve it? Dig across the details. Fuzzy on out that forever.
Charlie, thank you so much for coming through for us tonight. May you have a blessed journey on the other side, and take care.
How do you view Erika? The story ends. But now I'm going to be another the story forever.
Wow. Well, guys, this might not have been the longest session in the world, but I feel like we still got some.
Dang, he didn't even say, he didn't, usually he says like, oh yeah, like, do you got anything to say to your family or anything, messages or anything? He didn't even give them messages out. But he gave a lot of information though. He said free Palestine, all that. That's different.
You know, TMZ comes out and everybody around the world finds out when the phone alert, Charlie Kirk is dead, right? Your phone is blown up. No matter where you are, your phone is blown up with text messages saying Charlie Kirk is dead. This is Harvey, who runs TMZ. It's a place known, I've been inside that place. It's a place that's known for having cameras everywhere. That's what you're known for. You're talking live all the time, right? Yeah. Mm-hmm. That's what TMZ is known for. You have cameras everywhere. That's your business model. That's how you blew up.
I was with you in every corner of every room. They capture
That's
every
right.
reaction.
You remember that?
Yep.
There's cameras everywhere.
Yep.
So perfect. If you're telling me there's cameras everywhere, and then this is how they react, employees of TMZ, when the announcement is made that Charlie Kirk has died, and then listen to his explanation afterwards. Go ahead, Rob. That's the announcement. Exact second it was announced.
Go to. We're live streaming.
Oh, Rob, I don't want you to
day.
show that. I actually want you to show the whole thing. There's another clip that I have that I posted in the notes, Rob. I don't know if you see that one or not.
Is this the one, Pat?
The one from Instagram. Play that one because I want people to see 10 seconds prior to that to see how it goes. Watch this.
Guess is we're going to see
they don't know
an
yet.
image
Nope.
of this guy.
There's just live streaming.
Possibly in the next
Watch
20
this.
minutes. The news
You'll hear
conference
it.
is scheduled for 3 o'clock in Utah time, which is 2 o'clock Pacific, 5 o'clock Eastern. Janet, go.
The announcement is made.
Go.
They realize how
go
embarrassing
to,
this is. His partner's
have
going to the
somebody
back to
look
tell everybody
at
to be quiet.
the Fox.
Yeah, somebody go back.
Look, Trump just posted that Charlie Kirk is dead.
Yeah, you're right, Pat. He went to the back.
He
He
went
went
to-
to shut the hell up.
Yeah. So now watch. Now,
What did Trump say?
okay, forget about this, Rob.
Wow.
Now go to, so the second. So then what do? They go on ChatGPT. Can you tell me exactly at this time that there was
Damn,
another
people started
crisis that took place in
celebrating.
California for us to say that
What
we were
the
reacting?
In Utah
fuck?
time, which is 2 o'clock.
Yo, this ain't be real, Dundada. This can't be real. So he actually was. Wow, Dundada. That's crazy. That's different right there. They actually started cheering, bro. Like, what's going on, bro? Her spooky, Dundada. Maybe people is more malice than others, Dundada. Maybe these people's a little bit more malice than others, Dundada. Just off they situations, Dundada. People's pushing chairs on violence, Dundada, for their own situation, Dundada. That's crazy. Cause people got their own opinion on living life. That's wow.
There's just live streaming.
Possibly in the next
Watch
20
this.
minutes. The news
You'll hear
conference
it.
is scheduled for 3 o'clock in Utah time, which is 2 o'clock Pacific, 5 o'clock Eastern. Janet, go.
The announcement is made.
Go.
They realize how
go
embarrassing
to,
this is. His partner's
have
going to the
somebody
back to
look
tell everybody
at
to be quiet.
the Fox.
Yeah, somebody go back.
They say, yay.
Look,
They
Trump just
cheer.
posted that Charlie Kirk is dead.
Yeah, you're right, Pat. He went to the back.
He
He
went
went
to
to shut the hell up.
Yeah. So now watch. Now,
What did Trump say?
okay, forget about this, Rob.
Wow.
Now go to, so the second. So then what do? They go on ChatGPT. Can you tell me exactly at this time that there was another crisis that took place in California for us to say that we were reacting to? They make the argument that they're reacting to, not you, Rob. I'm saying that's what they did. So they make the argument later on. Do you have the video of them saying what they were reacting to?
Yeah, him
I
and the
think you have
producer
it.
guy.
Yeah. And so this is when they're looking at it. Watch this here, folks.
We're live streaming all day during this tragedy. When something happened in our office, as we were reporting the assassination of Charlie Kirk, there were some people in the back room away from our news desk here who were watching a car chase, and they were laughing, they were clapping, and you could hear it out here. And we want to make a couple of things clear. One is that I know these people, and they were not laughing.
Yeah.
They were not reacting that way
They
about
were
Charlie
laughing.
Kirk's assassination.
Yeah.
They were not.
Okay.
They would not work here
All right.
if they did. And that being said, we acknowledge that it was horrible timing. And for that,
Really?
we are sorry. We apologize. We apologize.
We got caught.
You had to hear that. And I get why if you're watching the stream, you may have felt that that's what the laughter was about.
Oh,
We
man.
assure you it was
When
not
the laughter was
about
cheering,
that,
dude.
but it was horrible timing.
Okay,
And by the
so
way, I
Do you
get
believe
it too.
them? Do you believe them?
Wait a minute.
Yeah.
So they're saying a car chase.
Okay.
This is the car chase. Let us just show you,
Yeah.
and you tell me if you believe them. Go ahead, Rob.
Yeah, let's find it.
Tell me if this is the kind of a car chase that you would celebrate
Yeah.
and scream. Tell me if it's that euphoric. Go ahead, Rob.
We're showing you right there on the banner below. You can see it started in Temple City, and we saw that. Go ahead,
25
Philip.
miles an
Well, I
hour.
wanted to let you know that President Trump has said Charlie Kirk has died. So that
Okay.
is
I'm
the
waiting for the
breaking
excitement.
news that we are
Waiting
likely
for the
about
excitement.
to have with ABC News. He was shot in Utah at a college there. We've been talking about that throughout the afternoon here.
Pause,
You
Rob. Okay, so
Damn,
he's
they
not
said it
lying.
on a car chase.
They are watching a car chase, and they are reacting to a car chase because the announcer on the car chase said that Charlie Kirk is dead.
Thank you.
So Harvey is essentially in his mind, well, we're not lying. Go back 20 seconds again, Rob, and watch what happens. Go back a little bit more. Go. Right there. Watch what the announcer says. Here's the car chase that they're talking about. Temple City. Go ahead.
that President Trump has said Charlie Kirk has died. So
That's
the
what they're
breaking
reacting
news
to.
that we are likely
That's not the
about
car
to
chase.
have with ABC News.
So
he was shot. In
So they're
Utah.
watching the car chase.
So, yeah.
The announcer announces Charlie Kirk's dead, and it seems like in all likelihood that's when they cheer.
you tell me
There's
what
nothing excitable
while
going
that
on there.
second the car
This
chase.
isn't O.J. Simpson and the White
Exactly.
Bronco.
Exactly.
Exactly.
Pat, that I'm sorry. That,
Yo.
first of all, disgusting of who they are. What TMZ, like somebody, an ex-employee claims. These are claims all over that I saw on X that the newsroom was filled with hateful, angry, progressive energy, and he said it would, without question, laugh at Charlie Kirk getting shot. Shame on them. Shame on them for lying. Shame, like, have the balls to just tell the truth. You know what, guys? We're freaking leftists. We're progressive. You know what? Charlie is a voice that says stuff that we don't like. We are happy that he was shot in the freaking neck in front of his family.
I don't know. I don't know if it's the entire organization. Let me tell you.
No, I'm saying what this guy's saying. It's filled with hateful, angry progressives.
And I believe that.
Yes.
That I believe.
This is the guy, Pat.
No. I believe that exists.
Yes.
That those types of people are in there. This is the question I want to ask all of you guys. Do you believe Harvey's happy that Charlie Kirk is dead? I don't believe so.
I don't think that that's his
Do
personality.
you believe the guy to the right believe he's happy Charlie Kirk is dead?
I don't think
believe
those
that.
two guys.
I think the guy on the right is actually fairly reasonable.
Mhm.
They're probably both on the left, but I don't think they're happy Charlie Kirk is dead. The question I want to ask you is the following. Here's the question I want to ask you, okay? You said the price of freedom of speech is freedom of speech.
That's right.
Okay, fair. We're not happy by the way those employees reacted. They're celebrating. These guys are not telling the truth. Harvey, respectfully, you're not telling the truth. You're telling the truth that they reacted to a car chase. Yes, but they reacted to what the announcer on the car chase said, not the actual car chase. There was nothing exciting happening at the same exact second, the same exact minute to have that kind of a euphoric reaction. Okay? That's absolutely embarrassing. If you have all the cameras all over the place, that's your business model. Show the camera footage. You have it. What were they reacting to? You have the camera footage in the back. Everywhere in that facility has cameras. Number two, what should happen to those people in the back that were celebrating? You're operating the company. You find out somebody is celebrating that. What should happen to those people?
Well, first of all, that behavior is despicable. Freedom of speech is a man coming to a podium expressing his views, and you don't like it. Omar going with a reporter expressing her views, and we don't like it. And there's consequences. You could get unelected. There's a lot of things that could happen. That is despicable behavior. And that kind of thing, you're employed by somebody, and there are standards of behavior. There is freedom of speech, at Valuetainment, just like there is at every company. Pat, I hate you. I don't like working for you, and I think you're a horrible leader. And guess what? You know what that means?
What?
You're fired.
Yeah.
We can say, okay, well, I'm sorry that you have that opinion. That's pretty despicable behavior, and that's a despicable opinion. So guess what? You're fired. You don't have to
Well,
work
what should
here.
happen here?
I think he should do it because I think there's an irony here. My take on this, there's an irony. Harvey has made his career on busting celebrities that lie when they're arrested, and then this video, that video, this person, that person,
Wow.
and then they bust them. They go, no,
What a great point.
here's what really happened.
That's right.
And now Harvey's in the middle of it, right there, busted, and sitting there in front of the spotlight, the same way he put celebrities and other people in front of the spotlight and would say, that's not what happened.
The part I don't
TMZ
like-
got you. We paid an
Yeah.
informant. We got this. And so he is not taking a leadership position in his company
That's the problem.
against
That's the problem.
despicable behavior.
But here's the question. The problem to me here is the way he handled it. That's the only problem I have, because this is how MSNBC handled it. We're not ones that wakes up in the morning saying MSNBC makes all the right decisions in the world with the values and principles they stand for.
Low
But watch what
probability we
happened
say
here.
that.
Go ahead, Rob.
But following up on what was just said, he's been one of the most divisive, especially divisive younger figures in this, who is constantly sort of pushing this sort of hate speech or sort of aimed at certain groups. And I always go back to hateful thoughts lead to hateful words, which then lead to hateful actions.
What happened to MSNBC afterwards? What did they do to that guy? He got fired. So you can love or hate MSNBC. What did MSNBC say? Hate is not allowed in our company. MSNBC fires Matthew Dowd after Charlie Kirk shooting comments, reports say. TMZ, Harvey, you have to make this good. I'm one that actually watched some of the stuff that you've done over the years, and it's actually good.
I agree.
For you to defend and lie about what they reacted to, you lost so much credibility with me. So much credibility with me for you to behave that way. This is not the right type of way to behave. You know, your guy in the back was celebrating.
And they saying that they were celebrating the assassination on Charlie Kirk, which act like let's see, like do they see how it happened? They got a stage image of how Charlie Kirk. They was clapping for this. This is like the play that was going on.
Ordinary guy become the world's deadliest assassin. How did he manage to escape? And how was he ultimately turned in by a close family friend in original 3D animations made from scratch? This is an exact mapping of everything that happened, simplified for better understanding. Here is Lake Utah, and just beyond it lies the West Campus. This is the Utah Valley campus. Charlie Kirk was shot in this area. To get the full picture, you need to look at how the suspect entered the building and how he escaped the scene. The suspect entered the building around 11:52 a.m. local time, moving through stairwells and across the roof to reach his sniper position. Surveillance footage confirmed his entry onto campus and his deliberate, unobstructed route inside the building. There is no public evidence or description suggesting he used a ladder to access the roof. Reports indicate he used interior stairwells and walkways instead of external ladders. The shooter was positioned less than 150 yards from Kirk, a distance well within the capability of a basic marksman.
That's crazy, Dada.
At around 12:22 to 12:23 p.m., the assassination occurred suddenly when a sharp gunshot rang out across the university courtyard. While speaking to the crowd, Charlie Kirk was struck in the neck. Blood quickly appeared as he instinctively clutched his wound and collapsed from his chair. Investigations confirmed the bullet was fired from roughly 200 yards away. Given the elevation of the shooter's position, he had a clear and unobstructed line of sight to the stage where Kirk was addressing the audience. The bullet's trajectory descended steeply and precisely through open space to strike Kirk in the neck, strongly indicating the use of a scoped firearm designed for long-range accuracy. After the shot, the shooter moved carefully from the sniper position to the edge of the building. There was incorrect information that he descended by ladder, but in reality, he dropped down from the ledge. In doing so, he left behind palm and shoe prints, which were crucial for forensic analysis. Though some describe it as a significant vertical descent due to the sloped embankment, he used his hands to grip the ledge and lowered himself as far as possible before dropping to the ground. The bolt-action rifle, identified as an older Mauser model, was still with him as he made his descent. Observers noted that he appeared practiced and did not discard the weapon at this stage, likely holding it in one hand or slinging it as he moved. After landing, he briefly limped, possibly from the impact, but quickly regained his composure and fled on foot into a wooded area adjacent to the university. Notably, palm prints and shoe prints left at the landing spot were documented by forensic investigators and proved vital to the case. He walked all the way to this location, blending seamlessly into the crowd. The suspect in the Charlie Kirk shooting had a brief encounter with an excavator operator near a construction site behind Utah Valley University's Losey building. According to construction workers present shortly after the shooting, the suspect approached the construction area and asked the excavator operator if he could pass through. The operator informed him that pedestrians were not allowed on the site and stopped him there. The suspect reportedly responded calmly, saying he was trying to get home safely following the incident. This interaction took place before police and emergency responders arrived at the scene. The construction site, located near the wooded area where the sniper rifle was later recovered, was part of the suspect's escape route after he jumped off the rooftop and fled from the campus. Within the next few seconds, he ran across a grassy section and headed into the nearby wooded area, rifle still in hand, until he was beyond the immediate campus property. The rifle was ultimately found wrapped in a towel in the woods along the suspect's escape path, indicating he discarded it shortly after leaving campus grounds. But how was he caught? It all came down to digital forensics teams analyzing thousands of security camera frames.
That's crazy. So the construction workers seen this dude, the data?
Matching Tyler Robinson's appearance, vehicle, and movements both on campus and off-site. He also left behind many digital footprints. When law enforcement released campus surveillance footage and still images of the suspect, his clothing, and the escaped vehicle to the public. This led to over 7,000 tips flooding hotlines and social media platforms. Additionally, messages between Robinson and his roommate recovered through the messaging app revealed plans about disposing of the weapon, its location, and unique engravings on the bullet. One casing read, "Hey fascist, catch." A clear direct
who's the fucking roommate? That's different.
Political message targeting Kirk's conservative stance. But the key reason he was caught was because his own father made the difficult decision to sacrifice his own son and turn him into the police. It was released that Tyler Robinson, the 22-year-old suspected shooter of conservative activist Charlie Kirk, was captured after an intense manhunt lasting about 33 hours following the shooting at Utah Valley University. The critical breakthrough came when Tyler Robinson's father, Matt Robinson, recognized his son in the photographs released by the FBI. Matt immediately reached out to Tyler and urged him to surrender peacefully. At first, Tyler refused and even threatened to harm himself rather than go to the authorities. Seeing this, Matt contacted a family friend, a youth pastor who also serves as a U.S. Marshals officer. With their support, Matt was able to convince Tyler to stay put and cooperate with law enforcement. Now let's go to the arrest details. On the afternoon of September 11, 2025, authorities orchestrated Robinson's peaceful surrender at a residence in Washington County, Utah, roughly 33 hours after the shooting. Robinson offered no resistance during his arrest. On September 12th,
That's different. That's how you gotta stay away from politics stuff, Dandada. What the hell? The minister was the U.S. Marshal, Dandada, too, as a minister, too?
2025, Robinson was booked into Utah County Jail, charged with aggravated murder, felony use of a firearm, and obstruction of justice. But hats off to father, where even law enforcement officials and public leaders publicly credited the family's intervention for enabling an orderly, nonviolent arrest. To better understand this assassination, it's important to note that a similar pattern was followed where the assassin also imported his own rifle and rented a post office box. On March 13, Klein's Sporting Goods of Chicago received a mail order for a World War II surplus Italian 1891 Carcano, and the model is a 1938 rifle. The order totaled $21.45, $19.95 for the rifle, plus $1.50 for postage and handling, and was placed by someone using the alias A. Hidell. And the rifle, which came equipped with a 4x scope and bore the serial number C2766, and was known for its effective range of around 500 meters with accurate shooting capabilities up to 800 meters, depending on the specific model and shooter proficiency. It holds 6 rounds in its internal magazine, loaded using a 6-round end block clip.
Did you know?
We're able to give our patients their permanent teeth.
Bro, that nigga brought the gun for like $21, bro, like $30.
At 7:23 in the morning,
the most.
Oswald arrives at the depository with Buell Wesley Frazier. When asked about a long paper-wrapped package, he dismisses it as just some curtains. At 8:45 a.m., President Kennedy addresses the Fort Worth Chamber of Commerce. By 10 a.m., with the weather clearing, Secret Service agent Wynn Lawson removes the bubble top from the presidential limousine, Kennedy's way of staying accessible. Kennedy has made it clear he wants to be open and accessible. He prefers riding without a bubble top and without agents crowding the back of the limo. At 11:50, several co-workers see Oswald eating lunch on the first floor of the depository, just as the motorcade begins its journey through Dallas from Love Field. At 11:55, the motorcade departs Love Field, delayed slightly by President Kennedy's interactions with supporters in Dealey Plaza. At 12:29 in the afternoon, the motorcade turned onto Houston Street and entered Dealey Plaza. 1 minute later, at 12:30, it made a sharp left onto Elm Street, a downward sloping road. As the limousine entered the plaza, Nellie Connolly turned to the
They
president
trying to say that the dude got shot with the same gun, the same type of
and said, "Mr. President, it can't make you believe there aren't some in Dallas who love and appreciate you, can they?" Kennedy replied, "No, they sure can't," his final words. According to the Warren Commission report, Lee Harvey Oswald, positioned on the 6th floor of the Texas School Book Depository, had a clear view of President Kennedy's motorcade as it traveled down Houston Street. Surprisingly, he didn't fire immediately. Instead, he waited until the presidential limousine turned onto Elm Street, where his line of sight was partially blocked by trees. The report states that Oswald fired 3 shots from a 6.5 millimeters Mannlicher Carcano rifle. The first shot reportedly ricocheted off a tree branch, landed near a railway bridge, and even struck a bystander. The second and third shots struck the president, with the third proving fatal. Footage analysis suggests Oswald fired all 3 shots in just 8.4 seconds. Here's where it gets controversial. The infamous single bullet theory claims the second shot passed through Kennedy's neck, exited his throat, hit Governor Connolly in the back, traveled through his ribs, took a 45-degree turn, pierced his wrist, and finally lodged in his thigh. Critics mockingly call this the magic bullet theory, arguing the bullet's path, zigzagging through 2 men and 7 layers of clothing, defies basic physics. The third shot struck Kennedy in the head, blowing out the right front of the skull. This horrific moment was captured by Abraham Zapruder, a Dallas dressmaker filming the motorcade at the time. But here's the twist. Multiple witnesses reported seeing a puff of smoke near a grassy knoll by a white picket fence, just feet from where Zapruder stood. This detail fueled conspiracy theories about a second gunman and even a possible 4th shot, contradicting the official narrative. 12:45 p.m. Oswald boards a bus 7 blocks from the Texas School Book Depository, though it's barely moving due to heavy traffic in Dealey Plaza. Shortly after, he disembarks and hails a cab driven by William H. Whaley. The cab takes him to his boarding house, where he changes clothes and retrieves his pistol. 1:15 p.m. While patrolling the Oak Cliff section of Dallas, Officer J.D. Tippett spots someone who fits Oswald's description. Moments later, a civilian's voice crackles over the police radio. It's a police officer. Someone shot him. 1:26 p.m. Vice President Lyndon B. Johnson departs Parkland for Air Force One. As he and Mrs. Lady Bird Johnson leave, she notices the flags lowered to half-mast. Assistant White House Press Secretary Mac Kilduff confirms that Kennedy has died. 1:40 p.m. Oswald sneaks into a movie theater showing War is Hell. As police begin to search the theater, the lights are raised and Officer Nick McDonald spots him among the seats. Approaching Oswald, the suspect exclaims, "This is it," and draws a revolver. In the ensuing struggle, Officer McDonald cleverly positions his finger on the pistol's hammer to prevent it from firing. The altercation intensifies when Oswald punches one of the officers, who retaliates with a punch that leaves Oswald with a black eye. The president's body was then transported for autopsy. But here is the controversies with the autopsy. The Warren Commission's case for the single bullet theory hit a snag with Commission Exhibit 397, a diagram of Kennedy's wounds drawn by Dr. Boswell. Though Admiral Berkeley, Kennedy's personal physician, had signed it as verified, his endorsement mysteriously vanished when the diagram was published. Without his signature, the commission avoided questioning Berkeley about inconsistencies, leaving a glaring gap in accountability. Dr. Boswell later backtracked, testifying that the bullet entry point he'd marked too low was actually higher, suddenly aligning with the theory's needs. But science refuses to cooperate. Even if the bullet had entered Kennedy's neck, CT scans reveal a brutal flaw. The shot would have smashed into his cervical vertebra's bony transverse process, deflecting or mangling the bullet. Yet the pristine bullet presented as evidence showed no such damage, making its alleged path anatomically impossible. In short, the theory hinges on erased signatures, revised.
That's crazy. They're trying to say the same people who took out Kennedy took out Charlie Kirk. These people don't. That shit hit different right there, Dundada. That hits different.
Two things that we picked up on yesterday. I think one of these problems was solved. I began yesterday's program not really having a very clear idea of who Charlie Kirk was, or indeed what he stood for. And I ended it with a much clearer idea, which it is not quite as straightforward a process as you might think. I got a few messages yesterday complaining that we were playing out clips of what the chap actually said, the self-styled free speech champion. And then I bumped into Ian Dale yesterday evening, and he said, "Oh, you're getting a lot of flack on Twitter." And I said, "Well, what on earth have I done now?" And he said, "Oh, people think that you were wrong to play out clips of Charlie Kirk talking." I'm like, how can anybody be cross that you're playing out? I mean, what would he want in the aftermath of his appalling murder? What would he want? His positions, his arguments, his messages to be more widely disseminated than ever before? Or would he want people to essentially censor him posthumously? How can it possibly be? I don't know. I gave up trying to work out what passes for the logic in the minds of these kind of people a long time ago. It's not true, is it? I'll never give up trying to work it out. But I gave up much hope that I would ever succeed. And the other bit that was missing from the analysis, from the entire story, was the definition of who they were. So Donald Trump moved immediately, as Donald Trump will always do, to turn this tragedy into whatever would be most to the benefit of Donald Trump. And so he elected to list attacks upon Republican politicians, refer to attacks upon Republican politicians, and completely ignore attacks upon Democrat politicians, many of which have been undertaken by people who were proven to be Donald Trump supporters or Donald Trump admirers, and talked about radical left rhetoric. I heard a lot of talk, I've seen a lot of talk about they. I'll play you a clip in a moment of a Fox News commentator saying they're at war with us. And I genuinely don't know who they are. And
No one
obviously
does.
there's a frisson
Who the hell
of
is they?
concern, not necessarily fear, that it just means anybody who keeps telling the truth about these people and this movement. Anybody who, for example, considers it absolutely unconscionable that you could pardon insurrectionists who attacked the Capitol and left the police officers traumatized, terrified, and even dead. You know, I mean, is that what he means? What is the radical left rhetoric? So there were two things missing from our conversation yesterday. And I answered one of those questions. I now know what he stood for. I don't remove, and I appreciate some people have been less empathetic than me, if you like. But I don't resile a single scintilla of sympathy and horror at what happened to the guy. I used the word courageous yesterday to describe my reaction to the discovery that he always debated people. I don't know that I would reuse that word today, because I've had a look at some of the clips, I've had a look at some of the debates, and I don't really know how courageous it was. I've also seen quite a lot of clips of him losing, but the criticisms he received, but I'll tell you why I say that, because I don't think I'm courageous. And what he did essentially was what I do from a very different political position and not on the radio. So if I get the better of somebody, there'll be a long queue of people claiming that I've been condescending or I've bullied them, or we can't really edit things to make me look better than I actually am, because the whole flipping show is up on YouTube from beginning to end. But I don't want to be yin to his yang, and I'm obviously nowhere near as important on the political stages on either side of the Atlantic. But I don't know that it's courageous to say, prove me wrong. I just used the word to describe him in contrast to a lot of people who seem to have similar politics and will never stand up and be counted. So in relative terms, he had more courage than Hank Buncher-Numbers with a bald eagle avatar who spends his life disseminating negativity and bigotry on social media. And I didn't like what I discovered about him. And the more I discovered about him during yesterday's program, the more troubled I was by the response, particularly of Boris Johnson, actually, who talked about all he ever did was say common sense things. And then you read some of the things that he'd actually said, or you listened to some of the things that he'd actually said, and you wondered whether Boris Johnson, the nicest thing you could say about Boris Johnson was that he didn't know. He should have listened to yesterday's show because he was responding. And that, of course, is when I realized why people would get so cross about anybody reading out what he'd said or playing out actual footage of him talking. Imagine that for a moment. Imagine casting yourself as a disciple of somebody you describe as a free speech champion, and then he tragically gets murdered by persons as yet unknown, which is an element of the conversation that we're moving towards.
Save big on furniture packed with innovative features.
They got it right. So he's saying that they did what they did, right? And he don't got nobody's side. Somebody lost their life, and he's saying he was just playing clips of homie. He wanted to get a little opinion on like what homie was saying, and he was playing clips of Charlie Kirk. So while he's playing clips of Charlie Kirk, he's saying that he was getting the messages and shit like that to his platform, and now he's like, yo, like, all right, these people is actually these people's coming at me too for no reason. And he's like, oh, why would they be coming at him just for playing clips? So it made him look like, oh, hold on. That's what it's making. That's how everybody's looking at it. Like, hold up, people's coming at these people too. People is clapping for someone like that. You know what I'm saying, to pass away or whatever. Charlie Kirk to pass away. They're gonna be clapping and stuff like that. Why is people clapping? Whoa! And people start looking like, wait a minute. We need to start looking at this now. Like, this is getting a little weird.
He tragically gets murdered. And all of the people who consider themselves to be disciples of a free speech champion have hissy fits and conniptions over the words that he spoke, over people playing the words that he spoke. I'm not often completely baffled by bigotry, but I've got to tell you, that one's got me right in the confused zone of my brain. So you don't want me to find out what he stood for, even as I condemn his murder. Why don't you want me to find out why don't you want people to know what he stood for? Surely that's a grave disservice to his memory. You think he'd be ashamed of the things that he was recorded saying? You think he'd be ashamed of the positions he adopted? You think he'd be ashamed of the arguments that he made? Or are you ashamed of the fact that you agree with them and therefore you don't want anybody holding up the mirror? As usual, generally when I'm completely baffled by people, I realize it is what they see in the mirror that's being held up that they're repelled by, rather than the person actually holding up the mirror. That just becomes a wonderful exercise in projection. So I'm categorically not praising the man, but I am discovering with every passing hour the reality of his opinions. And that then takes us to the reaction. And I've seen actually one right-winger. I'm not familiar with him. I'm not that plugged into American politics. And I don't know whether he's ignorant of history or whether he's absolutely stupid. But I've seen one right-wing commentator this morning suggesting that this is like the Reichstag fire in Nazi Germany. The Reichstag fire, if you don't know, involved the German parliament building being set on fire by one individual who was a Dutch communist. And Hitler used it to claim that this was all part of a massive conspiracy by all the communists, because 1930s Germany could have gone either way. It could have gone far left or far right. And Hitler knew that. The biggest threat to him politically was probably from communists. And he therefore lied about it being a massive conspiracy of people. And
what would Hitler be? Democrat or Republican, you think? Like, well, if Hitler, like, what would Hitler be?
They had to round up all the communists, and once they started rounding up the communists and closing down democracy and co-opting the judiciary, you know what happened next. So I was a little surprised to see that point being made by somebody who would very much style themselves as on the same side of politics as Donald Trump or indeed Charlie Kirk. I didn't know Charlie Kirk was one of the people that lied about the 2020 election. So again, you know, I don't know what his position was on the insurrectionists, but pardoning people who've tried to overthrow democracy by using political violence is surely, under any analysis whatsoever, more of a catalyst for political violence than calling people names.
So he got taken off for the politician situation. I thought he got taken off for lying on the 2020 election.
And then I've also found myself in the last 24 hours reading people who used to claim that calling people names is just hurty words. Even Farage is in the Daily Mail today complaining about people being called names. And yet these are the guys who 10 minutes ago were telling us that our free speech was under that. I mean, I'm just really confused. Until you start wondering whether it is, as always, all about the race. As is often the way, the transgender people being used as camouflage in the first instance to go all in on the racism. Allowing public discourse to be vile again in the context of transgender people, you're never going to get that genie back in the bottle, and all of the people whose bigotries extend far beyond one issue have been filling their boots ever since. I want you to listen to something. First of all, I want you to listen to this. This is a political commentator from the Republican Party. I think he used to work for George Bush. He definitely worked for one of the George Bushes. I just can't completely remember which one. This guy got sacked.
He's been one of the most divisive, especially divisive younger figures in this, who is constantly sort of pushing this sort of hate speech or sort of aimed at certain groups. And I always go back to hateful thoughts lead to hateful words, which then lead to hateful actions.
That is a guy called Matthew Dowd speaking on MSNBC. He got fired for those words shortly afterwards. This is a guy called Jesse Waters speaking on Fox News in more or less the same window of time, and both in response to this horrible murder.
Trump gets hit in the ear. Charlie gets shot dead. They came after Kavanaugh with a rifle to his neighborhood. They went after Musk's cars. They just shot 2 Jews outside the embassy. Think about it. Scalise got shot, barely survived. It's happening. You got trans shooters. You got riots in LA. They are at war with us. Whether we want to accept it or not, they are at war with us. And what are we going to do about it? How much political violence are we going to tolerate? And that's the question we're just going to have to ask ourselves. Now, Charlie would want us to put as much pressure on these people as possible. Dana nailed it. This is unacceptable and has to stop. And it has to stop now. And everybody's accountable. And we're watching what they're saying on television and who's saying what. The politicians, the media, and all of these rats out there. This can never happen again. It ends now. Greg's right again. This is a turning point, and we know which direction we're going.
He's still got a job. And, you know, I share his condemnation of political violence, but who are they? Who is this homogenous group of people that are all responsible for the actions of those individuals? I mean, he did actually go further.
We're angry and we're resolute. And we're going to avenge Charlie's death in the way Charlie would want it to be avenged.
Are you talking about avenging now? And how can you be opposed to political violence but supportive of a man who pardoned the January the 6th insurrectionists? You remember that footage. You saw it. You watched it.
That's crazy.
Donald Trump lost an election and his supporters attacked the Capitol and attacked the public servants working there and bayed for the blood of the actual vice president. I still don't know enough about Charlie Kirk to know how he would feel about the coverage of his murder. But I mean, I'm certain that he wouldn't want people to be complaining about hearing his words being repeated and disseminated.
I know whoever Charlie Kirk, his name's bigger than ever, Dandada. Everybody know who Charlie Kirk is today. That's different. His name got bigger than ever, Dada.
Steven Rosenthal, are you there?
I am.
Okay. I want to have you on, one, because I really enjoyed my time with you. Plus,
Same here.
Yeah. We started our conversation because your son, who I deeply admire, getting married. By the way, they still married?
They sure are.
Okay,
I'm
good.
loving every minute of it.
Okay. All right. All right. Well, you got a great wife.
Yes, he does.
Yeah. So we were talking about, because he had mentioned during the ceremony at one point, he goes, well, don't get my dad started on conspiracy theories. And I was like, oh boy, I got to get over and talk to that guy. I went over you right away. Big guy with a cowboy hat and a Georgia accent. I'm like, man, I got to talk to this guy. So we launched into, and we had a nice little conversation, and it's amazing who you meet. And then I thought, well, after this shooting, I thought I'd want to talk to you. You are a competitive long-range marksman. So we're going to just talk. Yeah. So we're going to talk about the unfortunate, horrible tragedy that took place yesterday. And I just want you to take us through the physics and dynamics. You told me yesterday, I don't want to come on yet until I have a better idea of what the weapon was. So now what allegedly the weapon found, I'm sure, I don't know where else somebody else is going to wrap a rifle like this in a towel and hide it in the woods. So let's assume this is the rifle. What did the alleged assassin use?
Well, according to what I read and what I'm sure you've read, it was a Springfield 30-06, which was a standard military issue rifle. 30-06 is a 30 caliber projectile. It's as common and easy to come by. There's nothing special about it. It is a great all-purpose round. It's used in World War I, World War II, in Korea, in Vietnam. It was used, the snipers used it until later on, after when Desert Storm and all the other issues that we got into, they came with new, higher, more powerful rounds. But 30-06 was standard military issue. It's a great hunting round. A lot of people use it for target shooting. It's got great ballistics. It shoots anywhere from about 2,700 feet a second to about 3,000 feet a second in factory loads. I'm sure that the hand loaders and the target folks can adjust accordingly for a little more, a little less, depending on what they want. But it is a very lethal round. It is a very controllable round, and it's a very easy round to shoot and very easily accessible. So, long story short, if this was in fact a 30-06 round, I'm continually amused. I know that's amused is not probably a good word with all of the horrible things that have been going on, but I'm amused that the uninitiated, the people who don't have any experience shooting firearms or long range or hunting or any of those sorts of things, talked about what a difficult a difficult shot that would be at 200 yards. I'm here to tell you that with minimal training, that a 200-yard shot, 600 feet at, let's just say they were using the higher end of it, at 3,000 feet a second, from 200 yards at that angle, shooting a downward angle, you do not have to be a special ops marksman or a sniper in the military or a gunny in the Marine Corps in order to successfully do what supposedly happened, what he was supposedly had done yesterday. It's very similar in a lot of respects to what happened with President Trump when they tried to kill him, and that's a very easy shot. It is not. I've heard all these years about what a difficult shot it was when John F. Kennedy was assassinated in Dallas. That is, once again, even with rudimentary, with the rifle that was used in that assassination, it was actually a pretty junky rifle, if you want to know the truth of the matter. A 6.5 Carcano is what was used. Italian rifle. It was very poorly built. It's a standard issue for the Second World War for the for the Italian army, and yet it still is a very easy shot.
So
200 yards is 600 feet.
So, Steve, so the shooter gets up onto the roof, shooting down like that. Normally, with that round, that distance,
they bring John F. Kennedy, Donald Trump. Did they beefing with the same people who killed John F. Kennedy? That's whoever them people is. They coming back out.
If you're shooting straight at a target, you normally assess about a 4-inch drop, I guess, depending on what load it is. In this case,
not at 200 yards. There's not it may be an inch and a half, or if he's shooting a 3,000 foot per second round at 600 feet, there's maybe an inch or two drop. You don't have to. I mean, it's just not a difficult shot.
Okay, so taking that shot, and then do you think, and this is pure speculation on your part, knowing whatever this assassin was capable of, do you think it was intentional where he struck Charlie Kirk?
Absolutely. That everybody's confirmed what I had already thought and said, and I'd actually posted some things about it earlier today before I actually heard. But the efficiency, if you will, of that shot is that it's completely and totally lethal. By shooting him where he did, there's no way to preclude or to stop death. You can't stop the flow of blood, because if you stop the flow of blood in order to handle the wound, you are now cutting off the blood supply to the brain. If you're cutting off the supply of blood to the brain, the victim dies. So it could not have been a more lethal placement of that shot. And again, you don't have to be a special ops guy. You don't have to be a sniper in the Marine Corps. You don't have to be you really don't. With some rudimentary training at that range, it's really a pretty, I guess if you put it in the hands of somebody that didn't have any idea what they were doing, they may not be able to pull it off. But if whoever this guy was, if he had ever shot before or done any hunting,
I don't know about anybody could just take that shot. People ain't taking that shot. People could be in front of you, couldn't hit you, hitting you from that far away, in the neck intentionally. Now, bro, think about what you're saying.
Before, or had any had ever done had any marksmanship training at all. 200 yards at 3,000 feet a second with that 30 caliber round is not it's not something that everybody would be talking about for years to come about what an unbelievable placement that was. It just is not.
So the assassin fires that round, and not a difficult shot, intentionally the most lethal place he could hit Charlie Kirk was there in the neck.
Absolutely. That is, you can read about it. You can go out on the net and read about about shot placement and lethality and all sorts of things. There's nothing. Unfortunately, there's no sacred cows anymore. You can read on how to build a nuclear reactor. You can read on how to make everything or do everything in the world right now, because it's all out there. So obviously, if he could read and write, he could figure it out. And that, like I said, that is irrecoverable. There is no coming back from that carotid artery shot. You can't, if you try to stop the flow of blood, right, in other words, to handle the hemorrhage, then you've cut off the supply of blood to his brain, and he's gone. And there's nothing. And
the best thing we could say, Stephen Rosenthal, competitive long range marksman, is that Charlie Kirk didn't feel anything.
That was over. The only way that could have been any more painless is if he'd, and I hate to be gruesome, but if he had a direct headshot. But yeah, there was very, you saw I watched the video, you saw the wince, but it was over before it was, he never knew what hit him. It was over before he hit the ground.
I'm sorry, Steve, we have to talk like this about this, but you and I'll have other conversation about happier times.
Yeah.
That's different, Dada. That's different. That's how politicians is talking. Dada shit, he never knew what hit him. Shit gets real spooky real quick, Dada. That's offending.
That, oh my gosh, we're happy that this happened to Charlie Kirk. It should nobody. I don't believe in political violence. However, the right is saying, well, this is war, and you liberals are killers.
What was it when the one congresswoman was murdered along with her husband in Minnesota and another congressman? See, because here's the thing. Now, they bantering the word assassination around. Charlie Kirk was not a political figure. I mean, he might have been influential to political figures. He wasn't a political figure. He wasn't assassinated. He was shot. He was shot. And that's unfortunate. Unfortunately, that happens to far too many people. But those other two congressmen, they were political figures, and they were shot because of their political beliefs. And it's always like we can only have empathy for people if we relate to them, if we spark to them, if we have a tribal connection to them. It is a shame. And the thing that makes me the angriest about this is I always swore that I would never cede my humanity to anybody or any other situation, but that's getting more and more difficult to do because I certainly don't believe a young man, 31 years old, should have lost his life. But Charlie Kirk was a horrible human being. He said horribly incendiary things. As a matter of fact, he died. The very last words he spoke were basically putting the onus of gun violence on gangs, which is a synonym for synonymous with black people. He blamed the very way he died was lying about black people with his last breath. And I just think the best thing I can say is that I hope he believed what he was saying. I hope he believed that lives being lost were worth it so the Second Amendment can persevere. I hope he believed that there should be a lack of empathy. He was.
Damn, what's up with this? He's an activist. He's trying to be an activist. This dude's wilding. They trying to be activists. They're having a political game.
Parsing between sympathy. Sympathy means we have a similarity. Empathy means I have nothing to do with you, but I can still feel your pain as a human being. And I hope he believed all the rhetoric he espoused, because if not, that was certainly an empty, vacant way to live, and certainly a horrible way to die.
Speaking of, here is Charlie Kirk on empathy.
Instead, it is to say you're actually not in pain. So let's just very short clip. Bill Clinton in the 1990s, it was all about empathy and sympathy. I can't stand the word empathy, actually. I think empathy is a made-up New Age term that it does a lot of damage, but it is very effective when it comes to politics. Sympathy, I prefer more than empathy. That's a separate topic for a different time. Here's cut 64.
Okay, so you said sympathy and empathy are different. It would be great if one could have both, and that means it sounds to me like he's saying if I can't relate to you in any way, if you're not of my tribe, then I can't understand what it's like for you. Yeah, therefore I have no empathy, no feelings about good feelings.
Exactly. Like even whenever, this is just my assessment of, when I hear a white guy tell me how much he loves Christ, I wonder who he hates more. Because it wasn't a mess of love and togetherness. It was separateness. It's superiority versus inferiority. And it amazes me how when Jesus was sitting with Lazarus, when Lazarus was asleep, and he was sitting with I forgot her name. He was with her, crying with her, even though he knew that he would wake him up 5 minutes from now. Like he knew, but that's empathy. The very tenet, the very core of Christianity is empathy. Loving your neighbor, not yourself, not people in your tribe. And they bastardize almost every aspect of this. They've taken terms and twisted them to mean something that they don't. He was a white nationalist who said horribly incendiary things about virtually everybody. If you didn't have his worldview, if you didn't see the world like he did, you were on the other side of it. I think that you shouldn't die for that. But unfortunately, that has always been the history of this country. So I don't have a hard time holding these two ideas in my head at one time. I think he was a vile human being, and I think you should
didn't die. But imagine if that was the standard or that was the predicate for killing somebody, I think anybody would be alive. But I think he shouldn't have died for that. But lionizing him, you're lowering the flag. Even if Charlie.
They on a go, the data. They on war, the data. I guess you see who side they on. It's a war out here, the data.
I think this is going to be very eye-opening for a lot of people. Now, I'm going to cover all of the ones that I know of as of right now. Of course, things are changing very quickly when it comes to this, but there's some concrete stuff we have here, but there's also some missed opportunities. Maybe you knew about, maybe you didn't, that we're going to cover as well. Things that could have only taken just a couple of seconds, but changed the outcome entirely. And unfortunately, I can't change it. Nobody can change it, right? But what I can do is bring as much truth and light to this situation. There's enough theories and conspiracies and all kinds of craziness going on, some of which we may even cover in this video. But we want to dispel that and talk about what's actually there, prove what we can actually see. And some of this stuff is quite disturbing, the things that were missed. This is with all due respect to Charlie's family, his wife, his kids, of course, his friends. Everybody that knew him. I know I was a fan of the work he did, and whether you agreed or disagreed with him, I could imagine anybody else in that chair, somebody that I vehemently disagree with, and I would never want to see that happen to anybody. Now, if you are somebody celebrating something like this, I made a whole video about this yesterday, but you really need to check yourself in the mirror hard, because if there's somebody that actually gave you more of a voice than most outlets, it was Charlie Kirk, because he'd bring you to the front of the line so you could have debate. Super sad situation. And of course, I want to hear your opinion. Whatever it might be, leave that down below. Let's go ahead and jump right in. Now, let's go ahead and first talk about the weapon that was found, right? A Mauser 30-06 rifle. This is a bolt-action rifle. Mauser has been making rifles since like 1906. It's one of the most accurate and one of the best bolt-action platforms. And a lot of different companies use the Mauser action because it's known for being super robust, reliable, and super accurate as well. Now, there's a lot of things that go into accuracy, but Mausers are known for that. And so what I want to do, because I see a lot of people saying, man, is this like a sharpshooter? Is this some kind of trained shooter? And he certainly could be, but let me just tell you, man, if we're looking at Google Earth, which I pulled up an image here, from where the suspect was supposedly at and where Charlie was sitting, there's a couple things that scream to me just how did this happen, first of all. But the first thing you'll notice is there's a downward slope. So the shooter's up here in an elevated position. He's not too high up, but he's just elevated enough to get a almost absolute clear shot. If you're picking out any point in this place, when you know where Charlie's going to be seated, this would be one of the places I'd be looking at. And let me just tell you, anybody, including this coward that shot Charlie, can take, 3 or 4 range trips, maybe a little bit more, maybe a little bit less, who knows, depending on who you are, and take that rifle, train with it a little bit, and hit a still target at 200 yards. And unfortunately, Charlie was still, right? He was talking. So it's not like it's this like crazy sharpshooter type of thing. In no way was he aiming for the neck. My opinion would be most likely center mass. That's where the odds of you getting the best shot off are going to be. But that's my opinion there. You can train almost anybody to be able to hit that shot with that round, very little drop off at 200 yards. Of course, that's highly dependent upon the zero of the rifle. You have elevation things to consider, but again, maybe 1 or 2 inches, right? It might be 3 to 5 inches either way. But I think what we're seeing here is somebody that trained a little bit, went to maybe one of the local ranges. Maybe he's not from there at all, but regardless, it's something that most people with a little bit of training, I think, would be able to pull off. So that's my very first question. Why aren't the roofs secured? Now, I understand that they're not going to have counter snipers. We can contrast a lot of this with the Trump shooting too, by the way. But, you don't have to have counter snipers. That's not something that they're normally going to do for people that aren't heads of state. Now, considering how many threats Charlie got, and again, I'm not blaming his team or him or anything. I just trying to make sense of it, I guess. But knowing the kind of threats, knowing what happened in Butler last year, to me, I would want to be able to secure the roofs, right? Those vantage points just provide, unfortunately, the perfect vantage point to do something as evil as this. But you don't have to have counter snipers, right? You just have to have sight, vision. You got to be able to see.
That's crazy, GG. So he's seen it. How did he know he was like going? Yo, how did he know he was going to do that day?
I love doing radio. I love being back at Mad Dog Sports Radio. I like to lead with my passion and my fervor, to really start the day, start the afternoon, so to speak. But if I sound a little bit, if not a lot, different, you can use the word melancholy, you can use the word sad or whatever. It's because I'm not in that kind of mood today. I'm going to be real. I'm going to be authentic. I'm going to be my true Stephen A. self. Whoever the hell I am is who I am. That's the way it goes. And I'm sitting up here this afternoon, the afternoon on the East Coast, the morning on the West Coast, and I want to thank the world of sports. We got a Thursday night game coming up tonight, Washington Commanders against the Green Bay Packers, and I know that, and I'm getting ready to talk about that. We've got news emanating out of the NBA involving Kawhi Leonard. I'm going to talk about that. The WNBA season is coming to an end. How much that means to you, if anything at all, without the services of Caitlin Clark. I'm going to talk about that, along with, of course, I'm in Vegas as we speak, in our SiriusXM Vegas studios, because I'm here for the big fight between Saul Canelo Alvarez, defending his 168-pound super middleweight championship against Terrence Crawford, undefeated at 4. I'm happy about sports today because speaking in Utah at Utah Valley University, and we saw him struck by a bullet in his neck. We saw blood gushing out immediately. And it didn't take long before he was pronounced dead at the age of 31, courtesy of an assassin's bullet. A bullet from a rifle that was lodged against him from 200 yards away. The part that really resonates with me, outside of the obvious, is that he had 2 children, 5 younger than 5 years of age. Both were in attendance and saw their father get gunned down. He had a wife, their mother, who was in attendance, who saw her husband get gunned down. In the world that we're living in today, I don't care who you are. You're white, you're black, you're Hispanic, you're Asian, you're Native American, you're Jewish, you're Catholic, you're Christian. I don't care. At some point in time, the one thing that sports needs to remind us about, the importance, the appreciation that we should all embrace, is how it brings all of us together. No matter your color.
Sports, GG. Stay righteous, Dandara, man. Yo, it's crazy world out there, Dandara. Stay away from politics, Dandara, because it's a crucial game, Dandara. Sometimes you don't even know whose side you're supposed to be on, Dandara. It gets real crucial out there, Dandara. So be careful, Dandara. Stay away from that type of shit, Dandara. Life's what you make it. You can't love it. You can't hate it. It's going to be simply what you make it, Dandara. You're in the elevator. Remember, life got meaning, so act like it, Dandara. Yours, life was simply what you make it. Borman's life's a long life. Stay more righteous than ever, Dandara. And you know what I'm saying? God chose you because he knew he could trust you. God's best kept secret. Oh.